That's the thing about this city. It's as predictable as it is bustling. She rounded the corner so quickly she almost didn't notice she had slammed right into him. As he looked at her blinking those handsome eyes trying to put his tousled hair back into place. I. I'm so sorry, he sputtered, I didn't. Now she was annoyed. She was late for her coffee date with Steve. Steve wasn't very tolerable about lateness, and that's why she'd been hurrying so fast. Well, Steve would already be mad, so Steve would have to wait. This one was now on her radar screen. He was lean but not skinny. He had kind of a crooked smile with big beautiful teeth. He dressed very well. He wasn't smiling but laughing his head off like she had told the funniest joke ever. What's so funny, she snapped. The little box she had been carrying was smashed to pieces. And as she looked at him she couldn't even remember what she had put in it to give to Steve. I'll get you another, he said. What was it? I'm sure it was something very expensive and valuable. She laughed, and they both then couldn't stop. It was as if they had been lifelong friends. That's the thing about this city? And you are? He asked. I'm Sam. Well, my real name is Samantha, but my friends call me Sam. I'll call you Sam then. So it was Sam, they both decided. My name is Steve, he said. Steve? Of course it is. I will remember that name, she thought. This one was much better, and she decided to choose him. That's the thing about this city? Too many Steves. He brushed her off, and of course she didn't mind. She straightened his collar, and their eyes met. Pure serendipity. But being in this city, it was bound to happen. It appeared they were made for each other. Of course they were. It was like two magnets finding one another from across a room. The attraction and electricity was undeniable. They exchanged numbers, decided they would talk by week's end, and she found herself turning to go back home. But first she would stop at the little bakery on the corner. Chocolate with vanilla frosting? Or vanilla with cream cheese frosting, or maybe this time she would choose a croissant. So many choices. She heard someone behind her say, I highly recommend the peanut butter and chocolate cookies here. She turned to see where this familiar deep voice was coming from, and saw Steve number 1 right behind her. He mentioned something about how they must have gotten their timing and meeting place confused with one another, but the main thing was that now here they were, and those cookies do smell so good. They both grabbed a coffee and cookie and sat down next to the window. People were going here? Going there? A story behind every one of them. How long had they been here? Where were they going? Who did they look up to? When would they die? And at just that moment she looked at each one of them, and the voice in her head said, and you're going to die, and you're going to die, and you're going to die. She snapped back to see Steve looking at her. What does go through that pretty little head of yours, Samantha? She hated it when Steve number 1 tried to read her mind. Like he was entitled to know every last little thing about her. She was not about to give it up or let him in. She now had Steve number 2 in her life, and she decided she was in love with him. Oh, nothing. I was just thinking about what a nice day it is, and how good this cookie tastes. He cupped her hands in his and couldn't take his eyes off of her. He was ready to ask her the big question. She pulled her hands away and changed the subject. How is your draft coming along? His brow curled. Just when he thought she never paid attention, she proved him wrong, and he said, oh, it's coming along fine. But that's not why we're here. Too soon, thought Sam. Just then she decided the cookie had given her a stomach ache, and she announced that she needed to go. She told him they would catch up soon, and grabbing her jacket off she went. That's the thing about this city. Men who get too serious too soon. Sam wasn't ready. There were so many men. What if she picked the wrong one? She'd be stuck with him. She'd much rather have her choices upon choices upon choices. She never liked to commit to anything. Certainly the least of which was a job. No, she would never get a job, she decided. It was too much work trying to find the right one. But when she did, she would never see them anyway. She would be much too busy going to the gym, getting a massage. Things like most good housewives would do. She was determined to be the best at it. She'd never had a mother. A true role model, and her father was never around. He was always busy pushing her off on the next suspect. He would leave her with just about anyone. And they were all the same. They never wanted her around, but they did her father the favor, and then would be scarce around for the next time. Sam didn't care. She knew she was pretty, and it was just a matter of time. She worked out daily and kept in wonderful shape. She ate the right foods. Her skin was flawless. Her hair, although long and brown, was perfectly combed. Her makeup enhanced her natural beauty. She was like a spider with a carefully weaved web waiting for the next one. Then a better one. Then the next one. Then the better one. She unlocked her apartment door and kicked her shoes off. She went out on her terrace. She loved this city. Like nothing else she had ever loved in her life. It was hers. She looked far into the distance, feeling the hum of the city, and thought, that's the thing about this city. There are so many great choices.